But yes, how are you? Are you
I
fine?
am- yeah, really good, fine, absolutely rocking and rolling. Yeah,
Oh, bless your cotton soul.
good spirits. Yeah.
So for some people that don't know, what I would like you to do is just introduce yourself and just say who you represent and what your organisation is. Because I know it's going to be a bit of a mouthful because you do a lot, but we can take it in chunks and then allow the people to, yeah, I think they're allowed to ask. Did they ask questions last time? Yeah, they did. They did ask questions. So for the people that are in the audience, you can ask questions after, but not during the time that we're speaking, because it's hard for this little dyslexic brain that's up there to take on board what Deborah's saying and then also what you guys might be typing. So if you, and I just introduced you. So yeah, if you can do that, introduce yourself and let us know the organisation you represent.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jay. Yeah, really good to see you and great to be here this evening. Thanks so much for inviting me.
No problem.
So my name is Debbie Pocock, and it's my really great honour to be the Chief Executive of QEST. And QEST stands for the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Trust.
Well done.
And got that out.
Yeah.
Which is basically a charity that was set up some 30 years ago by the Royal Warrant Holders Association to support craftspeople.
So sorry to cut you, Debbie. The Royal Warrant Holders Association. Yeah. If you can explain what the Royal Warrant Holders are, what are they?
Of course, the Royal Warrant Holders Association is the association that looks after all of those companies that have royal warrants of appointment. So you know when you see the crest on your Kellogg's or on a building or a shop, that means they're by a royal appointment.
So that means the royal family buy those products.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you said cereal. The royal family buy cereal as well. Then is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure I want to get into what they buy and what they don't buy.
Good on you.
That's definitely not my remit.
Right.
But I think the important thing is that the charity was founded by the association, and its mission then was to give funding to individual craftspeople to support their training and education, to improve their craft skills. And that hasn't changed. That's absolutely what we still do today.
Yeah.
We still support individual craftspeople and makers to allow them to fulfill their dreams, enhance their craft skills, and go on to be incredibly talented, inspiring individuals.
Wow.
And the amount of crafts that we support is very, very broad. So everything from ceramicists, glass workers, furniture makers, weavers, thatchers, a very, very broad range of crafts. Yeah. And we've got probably about 800 alumni. So a wonderful QEST community of makers.
So you have the case of like the Royal Warrant Association that came together, set up QEST, and then basically stated that we're going to teach, or we're going to enable people to learn this craft. Yeah. So then what do people do? Do they then apply to QEST and then get funding? How does that work? How does it all work?
Yeah, absolutely. So individuals can apply to us. And we have a couple of application rounds a year, and individuals have to say, this is what I want to do. This is really going to help me, enhance my skill, improve my practice. And we then go through a really sort of rigorous assessment process, and assuming that individual is successful, and depending on how much money they've applied for, we will give them up to £18,000. So it's transformational for people.
No, that most definitely is transformational. But do they have to have been in, let's say, in the industry already? Do they have to be linked to the Royal Warrant Association, or could it be someone who has said, right, I would like to learn this craft? Like today, I learned about what they're doing over in West Dean College.
Love West.
Yeah. So could someone, let's say for the first time, that I wanted to apply, or anybody wanted to apply to get funding to go to there, or does it have to be within the Royal Warrant? How does it work?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the individual makers and craftspeople that apply to us, nothing to do with royal warrants, or it's their individual makers for a scholarship, which is primarily what we're known for. And I'll come on to talk a little bit about what we're doing for the younger generation, but primarily scholarships are for those that are already quite established in their craft. So they're coming to us to really improve their skill and get them to that next level.
Right.
And, you know, we've got a great example. We're going to be talking to Sofia in a bit, and, you know, at Craftworks, we'll have a whole range of different craftspeople.
Oh, come on! Look at you jumping the gun. Calm down, lady. Calm down. You're jumping it all already. So, all right. Let's say for. I know we're going to talk about Craftwork and all that. No, don't worry. But basically, let's say, for instance, you talked about the scholarships. Is there anything below the scholarships then?
Yeah, absolutely. So this year, we are introducing an emerging makers grant, because we really recognise that it's quite an underfunded area. So those that are sort of been typically practicing less than 4 years, sometimes that's the point where they go, oh, God, you know, this is really tough and I need the funding. So we're introducing that for the first time in this latest application round, which we're really excited about. And we hope that that will really, you know, inspire that sort of younger generation to continue, if you like, with their craft journey, because being a maker and getting funding for your training is really, really tough.
And training is expensive as well. It can be quite expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, so we're introducing that. And then we, you know, I know something that you've been a little bit involved is that, you know, we're really thinking about, that younger generation and what we do to get, you know, I always think about, you know, it's building the pipeline of the next generation of makers. And so earlier this year, we launched a partnership with the wonderful National Saturday Club to set up some craft and making clubs across the UK, so that, you know, 13 to 16-year-olds have somewhere to go on a Saturday for free to have a go at a craft skill. And, you know, they may not think this is for me, but I think it's really important that young people have access to these kinds of experiences, 100%. Because I always say you don't know what you don't see.
Don't know what you don't see, or don't know what you don't try. So you've got to give it a try. And luckily with the National Saturday School, they've got a number of different disciplines that young people could tap into.
I mean, it's not just craft and making. There was a gap, and so we said, yes, please, we really want to partner with you on that. And, you know, we started out this year, and we've got clubs in Devon, Birmingham, London, and Oxford. And then later this year, we're going north. And Stanley mentioned that we're going to have a craft and making club at Cockpit as well in Deptford.
Yeah, you're not mucking about, are you? Well, you understand, it's almost as if what you're trying to achieve is you've got the scholarships, and then you've got the people that have been doing it for less than 4 years, and then now you've gone right back down to the young ones, and said, like, right, let's inspire you. So this is so all right, you're hitting 3 nails on the head that I can see. 1, 2, 3. What's the nail that you're not hitting? What's lacking in the industry?
I mean, I think what's lacking is the opportunity for young people, and that's one of the reasons that we wanted to do the National Saturday Club. And we've got some other exciting initiatives coming up in the autumn, which
can you tell us? I should know about this. You can't tell me.
I'm dangling a carrot a little bit, but it's really, I think, you know, we know, and this is, you know, it's not a criticism, but the school system, the education system isn't prioritizing craft and creativity. And I think it's really important that, you know, organizations like the National Saturday Club and others do provide that access to young people, and especially those from sort of underrepresented and disadvantaged communities. I think that for me is really important, and I think that's what I think that's what's missing is access and opportunity. It's not wide enough. You know, we really have to make sure that everyone knows that actually having a career in craft is a viable opportunity. And you know, industry does have its part to play, because industry is often telling us that, you know, they can't get young people into the manufacturing industries. And so hopefully, and you know, look, it's the long game. We can't do this overnight.
No, it won't be fixed overnight. But let's say, for instance, you did mention schools, and I know schools, the kind of craft element and the making is kind of removed from schools. I know with regards to the National Saturday Club, it's a case where they're doing their bit. So I don't think schools could turn around and start saying, all right, we're going to introduce making. So if there is a kind of access for young people, would it be the sole responsibility of like charities and people on the outside doing bits and bobs, or would it be a collective of different organizations coming together to make things a lot bigger and more accessible for people?
I think that's right. I mean, I always, you've heard me, I always say together we can do more. And I really believe in that collaborative partnership approach. And, you know, people like Cockpit, Heritage Crafts, Prince's Foundation, Crafts Council, all people have a responsibility. We all love craft. We all want it. We want to see it survive and evolve, and young people embracing it. And so we all want that, and we all have our different objectives, and we all do our, you know, stuff and our different approaches, but ultimately that's what we're all about. It's all about sustaining the future of craft.
Most definitely. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I set up Craftworks is basically to get everybody together, because we was all saying the same thing. We all love craft. And to get everybody in one room looking at kind of honoring the past and then celebrating the present, and then making sure we secure the future. And the future is the young people. I'm not knocking anybody who's doing craft now, but if we don't have any young ones come through, the craft that someone's doing now will more than likely kind of be lost, or it will start to dwindle. Not many people will take it up. So we need to make it a bit more, one, accessible, and two, to let people know that you can, as you said, you can make a living from this. You can actually earn, but not enough people are talking about it in the sense of you can do this, and then looking at, okay, where's the entry points? Where can I go? So
I mean, I think that's the important thing is it's understanding what the pathway is as well. I don't think that's always very clear.
No, it's not.
You know, young people think, oh, I'm excited. I didn't know that I could be a shoemaker or a hat maker or a furniture maker, and they're, you know, they don't know that. But once they're inspired, like, well, what do I do next? Who do I talk to? And I think that's why, you know, I always think about our, you know, the pyramid, if you like. It's important to support those people that are established, because they are the ones passing their skills on to the next generation. And so you have to sustain that top bit in order to, you know, make that virtuous circle of craft, if you like, keep on passing the skills on and round. And but it's not easy. A craftsperson's life is not easy, is it? It's quite tough.
I think it's really, I think it's underestimated how hard it is. And I know the person, I'm not going to say the person's name, but I know you have to juggle a lot of stuff as being a craftsperson. And sometimes some craftspeople are reluctant to actually take support. Let's say, for instance, in the stuff that we're not great at. Like me, I'm rubbish at doing emails. I remember when I first got my assistant to deal with my emails, I told her that I had about 250 to 300 emails.
Wow.
And then 2 days later, she came back to me and she said, well, do you know how many emails you did have, Jay? And I said, yeah, probably about 350 then, now that you're asking me. And then she said, no, you had about 12,000 emails
Wow.
unread. And I said, well, if they haven't got in contact with me yet, then it doesn't really matter. They haven't got my number. But I think us as craftspeople, what we find hard is that letting go and letting someone else come in and take over those kind of jobs that we might be rubbish at. But once we do it, it's so much easier. You're just able to get on and do your job. But there is support out there for all of these types of things, isn't there?
Absolutely, 100%. And I think, you know, it was lovely listening to Annie, you know, last week from Cockpit. And Cockpit, you know, they have the wonderful Maker Studios, but they're providing business training. And I think that's really important. You know, the Crafts Council do that. And I think, you know, that's one of the reasons that QEST works with Cockpit. So all of our new scholars, if they're successful, they get to go on a Cockpit personal development course to learn things about marketing, branding, valuing, pricing, all the things that craftspeople worry about and aren't automatically brilliant at because they're just superb makers and creators, but they're not. Business skills stuff is a challenge. So it's something that comes up, you know, all the time.
Quite a lot. So if it's a case of, let's say Cockpits is doing it, and then people that come to QEST and are successful with the funding then can go and get that particular. I know Heritage Crafts offer that as well. And the Crafts Council, you say. So let's say, for instance, you're an individual maker that's out there. You necessarily can't find that information unless you are with an organization. Is that correct? You have to be associated to someone, really, first and foremost.
Yeah, specifically. But I mean, you know, there's lots of really good people out there who are offering training to individual makers. You know, we use individuals when we do business masterclasses. And so, you know, there's some great names, and maybe we can put them up on the, you know, Craftworks website or something. But
definitely,
people like Patricia van der Acker, she does wonderful training for individual makers. But
I never knew that
side. But you know, it's course is difficult. Sometimes.
I think it is. The business side is very difficult, and just as you said, like the making. If you enjoy the making, when it comes to the business, you're not necessarily going to be like 100% on that. You're going to be more on, I'm making this thing anyway. But marketing, branding, all of that stuff, and doing your taxes is and then, unlike me, you got to answer the emails, because they're quite important. You might miss a deal and stuff like that. You mentioned Craftworks, and I'll say a little bit about it. Craftworks is something I set up because of looking at all of the different organizations that are out there that I kind of either represent and am involved with, that I found that we're all talking the same thing, but we're not talking together. So I thought setting up Craftworks for me was all about making sure that we can all talk the same thing in one place, but then also create a path to show people, okay, this is what you can do. Or if the path isn't there, we can say, well, in your particular area, this is what you might be able to do. You can tap into the Saturday School, or you can tap into a different organization that might be offering something up there. And I've asked a number of people, and I'm very fortunate to say that you're one of the organizations that has said, yes, you'll jump on board, as well as Cockpits and the Princess Foundation. And I just wanted to ask you, why do you want to be involved in something like this, in like what we're creating in the future as QEST, as the leader of QEST, I should say?
Because I think it's important that we just keep talking about craft and the importance of craft to UK PLC. You know, it's really... we need to raise the profile. We need to engage more people. We need industry to understand that, you know, there's new talent coming on board all the time, and to really encourage that sort of cross-fertilization, if that makes sense.
It does make
build
sense,
the networks. It's all about the networks, joining the dots. You know, I talk about industry, it's very boring, but
no, it's not boring at all.
But joining the dots and just making sure that, you know, people do understand what the opportunities are. And I think when you get a whole bunch of incredibly, you know, talented individual makers, and I know you're going to have industry partners there at Craftworks as well. That's absolutely critical, just making those connections.
100%.
People working in isolation, you know, they you know, and it's a great platform for people. They might get, you know, that how good is that?
No, it is. It's absolutely brilliant. And that's one of the reasons why I set it up. It was basically to get us all talking to each other, and giving people who are makers, as you say, sometimes they're isolated. They don't get out that much because they're busy doing what they're doing, making, sending the stuff out, dealing with the emails, then dealing with the taxes, and then actually running a household and being in a family, and then going back to the workshop and doing. So to have something where they can all come together and just tap in, and hopefully the website, as we start to develop it more, it will have more information of, one, what we're doing, but two, where people can find and navigate the way. Because I would like it to be a kind of one-stop shop where everybody gets their information from. But you do something, you do stuff similar, because you showcase a lot of the QEST scholars, the QEST, like I call them the creme de la creme. I went to one at the V&A, and it was just, you had some people there, got me really jealous of being just an upholsterer, because there was artists there that were making some beautiful stuff. Now I'm going to ask you a question that a lot of people ask me all the time, and I'm never able to answer this question. Let me see if you can answer it. Out of all of the people, all of the crafts that you've supported as QEST, and you've seen a lot, which one's your favorite?
Favorite.
No, I could never answer it. I could never answer it, because it's like picking your favorite child.
You know, it so is. There's just such incredible. There are some incredible makers.
You're thinking about picking one. I'm going to let you out of your misery. No, don't pick one. Don't pick one. Let me do it a different way. If there was a craft that you could learn that you haven't learned already, which one would it be? That's easier.
Question. And the QEST, the amazing QEST team, they always laugh, because, you know, some crafts are very, you know, fine. I just like to bash things.
What craft is that? Then just bashing something.
You know, but I like things to do with stone. So I love the idea of, you know, sculpting, something a little bit more visceral. I'm not talented from a craft perspective at all. I'm not a maker. I don't come from a craft background. I just know how important it is, and I love it. And I don't think people never really think that craft is all around us.
It is.
Chairs, it's jewelry, it's what we wear, it's beautiful buildings, it's everywhere.
It is everywhere.
But
you haven't named it. So you like to do stonemasonry. You like to smash the stone up. but carving it at the same time.
I mean, I've had a go at a few things, and I've done, you know, I've done paper folding, but honestly, it's so precise. I just sort of glazed over. I was rubbish at it.
Paper folding. I've never heard of that one. What's paper folding?
Well, sort of origami. I mean,
nice.
We've got some interesting. Angela, amazing architectural origami. You love it.
I think I would love that. I do like a bit of origami. I do like that. Cool, blimey. And all right, we'll have to talk after this, and you give me someone I can get in contact with. I'll get some paper folding going on. That is really, really cool. All right. And then you've got a QEST. This is a QEST scholar that's going to come on board and just chat to us about what he or she does. I'll just see if let's see.
Sophia, and I think, you know, Sophia is an amazing artist, but what we really love Sophia is her tenacity.
Right.
You know, her journey, you know, has not been plain sailing, and like many craftspeople's, it's, you know, it just really demonstrates that you really have to have grit, determination, tenacity, of course, talent. But you know, you've really got to work at it. And she applied for her QEST scholarship 3 times, and she just kept going, kept better, and then
And then she was successful.
She was.
Oh, and look at it. It brings a smile to your face.
I know.
It's a personal one, this, isn't it? Look at you.
Roller coaster in the QEST office. Stories are just incredible, and these people are so passionate. And you know, you give people money, and you know, this genuinely changes people's lives.
No, it does.
Through their dreams.
100%. I think Sofia hasn't come on to join us yet, so I'm going to ask you another question.
Oh no!
And it's kind of a loaded one.
Oh, okay.
But not loaded in a bad way. I think some people have said, and I was having a conversation with someone today, and I'm not going to say who, but some people say that the craft world is a bit elitist, and some people might not feel very comfortable coming into that world.
Yeah.
And I always reply to people that because of myself not being from that elitist world, I'm then able to communicate to other people who are from my kind of world, let's say a working class background, that craft is just acceptable for you as well. It doesn't really matter about the elitists. And I know this is something that QEST is very much behind, that they want to make sure that it's accessible. Do you have anything to say? I didn't really answer the question, did I? I made a statement. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Do you agree with that? There you go. Yeah.
Of course. I think it's the craft world, quite sort of, you know, white.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think, you know, the statistics tell us that, and we all know, all the organisations that we've been talking about know that we've got to do better.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, initiatives like, you know, National Saturday Club and working in communities that are, you know, underrepresented and disadvantaged, you know, that you're not going to change that overnight, but if you can, you know, we're looking for long-term change, and I think that's the way we have to do it. You have to do it from the grassroots up, and so I think we're all on a journey. I really, but that's why making sure that as many different people from different backgrounds and different circumstances know about the options of craft. And
you got King Fly. Is it King? I think it's King Fly Embroidery. He says he's from Council of the State and he's received a scholarship, a QEST scholarship this year. So you're doing it, and as you say, it's not a quick fix. It is a long-term thing, and I think people like it is King Fly, isn't it? Hopefully, I'm reading that right. Sorry if I'm not. My dyslexia sometimes messes me up.
I think that's David Moorish. He's the most incredible embroiderer. I think that's him.
That's in King Fly, yeah? I must have it right.
Yeah.
But I think someone like him and people like myself, yes, he's saying yes, that we kind of have a duty to then basically shout from the rooftops about who supported us and what we're doing and what we're able to do with that. So thank you for pointing that out, King Fly. Yeah, I've got to see your report. I think I've seen it, but I don't have one. So I'm going to get involved in some way, shape, or form. I've got to get some King Fly embroidered. But Sophie, I think she's on. Is it Sophie? Yeah, let's get her in. And I pressed the right button, and hopefully she should be joining us. Oh, there you go, boss. Look, happy days.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Are you?
I'm very good. I've got Deborah. I've got you on the line, and I've got a glass of water, and I've got my favourite tipple, which is a Jack and Tina, I should say. A Jack Daniels and a Tia Maria in the same glass. Really nice.
Right, so cheers.
Yeah, cheers. And then what have you got, Sophia? What have you got? Have you got any drink?
I've got some squash.
Good on you. You're the sensible one. That's why you're the driver. You can drive us home. All right.
There we go. Deal.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So tell us about yourself. What'd you do? And what is that noise? Is that your mic then? I can hear something.
Oh, it might be. I don't know why. It's disconnected from the headphones, but can you hear me all right?
I can hear you, Crystal, and everybody else is waving to you. And I'm going to ask you this question, actually. I asked the audience earlier, right, how do you get awake? Because you're a young one and you're on the squash. So you're probably more sensible than me and Deborah. But how do you get the wave? How do you do a wave? I
don't know. And people were just doing it to me, and I haven't got a clue. I don't know how they did that.
It's crazy. All right, I'll go on the YouTube or something. There must be a video about it. But please tell us about yourself and what you do.
So I'm I live in the West Midlands. I live in Kidderminster, which is just a bit outside Birmingham.
I know Kidderminster.
There we go. Well, that's where I am right now.
Oh, bless you.
I make furniture, carved furniture, and all my work's quite organic and sculptural in nature now. Turns out that's what I like to do. So yeah, I've been doing it a few years now.
When you say a few years, how many years have you been doing it?
I'm sure I'll tell you about it during this live, but I first sort of trained formally as a furniture maker in 2021, so I'm not super far along, in my career. I'd say I'm at really at the start.
Yeah. So hold on, how old are you? Because you look about 18.
Yeah.
You started in 2020.
I'm 31.
Seriously? And you started in you started in 2021, did you say?
Yeah, this has been a long and winding road to get here.
Okay, if you could tell us about this road, because basically your stuff, I've seen your stuff on the website and it's gorgeous. I mean, absolutely. It does look like plants, actually. It looks like something just growing. It doesn't look like it. Oh, is that what you're going for?
That and a little bit creepy, which I would say it probably is a bit. Some of this is a bit creepy, but
no, I don't think it's creepy. I've seen people do burning of wood and try to get some of those shapes similar, but yours is, you're carving it and it looks proper. It looks so organic. It doesn't look like, it looks like a tree's dried up and something's happened. Like it's just formed into that shape. Cobbler, I've lost my question now. That's it. This windy road. That was the one. The windy road. What do you mean it's a windy road?
Well, so I'm going to go right back to the start. As a child, I was always really creative. I used to draw on the walls. My mum had a room, which she called the toy cupboards under the stairs, where she said, if you're going to draw on the walls, do it in here. Yeah. So I'd get my pencils out and I'd draw what I called my inventions, and then go, Mum, look at my invention. She'd go, oh, it's great, look.
Right.
All through school and stuff, I was creative. I liked DT, I liked art. Those were definitely my strengths. Yeah. Then, so I went to college, studied, what did I study? Creative subjects, did graphics, did art, did English literature. And then I was going to go to uni to study architecture at the time. Right. So I knew I wanted to do something that was partially a bit creative. I mean, architecture can be very creative, but I know the course is a lot more than just the creative bit. But I was going to do that, but I just didn't feel ready. So I ended up doing an art foundation at Stourbridge College. Okay. And that, when you do art foundation, they put you in rotation. So you do textiles, fine art, 3D design. Yeah. There was, I think, illustration. There was a couple of others. But it was in the 3D design where they let us loose in the workshop. And it was where I made my first really crude piece of furniture. It's most expensive to call it a piece of furniture, but, it was pretty bad. But the minute I did it, I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. It sounds cliche, but it was really a light bulb moment where all of a sudden it clicked and I was like, this is the thing. But I didn't really know where to go from there. And because I'd done all right at school, I ended up going to uni. And I studied, my degree award was called Interior Products Design. And it was good, but it was very much design focused, like you said. Yeah. They're not able to tutor you in making because it's so intense. Yeah. So I did a few projects that were kind of furniture based. And then for my final piece, I made a dining table. Again, it was a bit crude. Not going to give myself too much credit for that one. Right. But made this dining table and then took it to new designers with the uni. And sort of off the back of that, I interned for a local company and they knew I wanted to make, so they ended up hiring me as a joiner. Okay. So I worked in a shop fitting joinery workshop with 5 blokes in the Midlands for about 2 years. Wow. And at the start I learned a lot, but because it was quite repetitive work, it quickly became, boring. New screws, MDF over and over again, making it on repeat. And I got bored. So I worked in the design as part of the design studio, and then moved to another company doing this design again, but slightly more interesting projects, but still not sort of freestanding, or I hesitate to use the word, but it wasn't like fine stuff.
Yeah.
But I was working with a lot of like really talented people here in the Midlands, you know, talented metal workers, upholsterers, frame makers. And it was great to see these people working and see a bit of what they do.
Yeah.
So I sort of mixed around doing that for a while until my mum had a place in Somerset, and I made her a sink stand, and it wasn't anything special. But the plumber who was fitting it said, "Who made you the sink stand?" And she said, "Oh, it's my daughter. She wants to make furniture." And he goes, "My mates have got a school up the road. It's called Williams and Cleal. You should look it up." And she was like, "Furniture school?" So she texted me, "I'm going to furniture school. How about for your birthday and Christmas this year? I'll give you a bit of money and you put a bit of money and you can go and do a week." And I did. And that was in 2017, I think.
Okay.
I went and did a week at Williams and Cleal, and we made a pair of dovetail bookends. And off the back of that week, which was amazing, I loved it. They were very kind, gave me a bit of feedback, and they said, "Look, you're good at this. You could do this as a job. If we ever find out about any funding, do you want to come here?" And I was like, "Are you joking?" I'd still want to do it. It'd be gone, and I'd be at school. But like I said before, craft education's expensive, so I kind of didn't think this was doable for me. So I like floated around for a few years, and then they got in touch with me and told me about QEST. So that's when my sort of run application started. And I applied, and I didn't, the first time didn't get through, which now I'm on the other side of it, I totally get it. But I was just gutted. So I tried again the next application round, didn't get through again, and I was so upset. And sort of in the interim years, I'd like gone abroad and worked abroad, come back, and I was sitting with my partner after I found out I didn't get the scholarship another time, and he was like, "This is what you want to do for the rest of your life, right?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." And he was like, "Then why don't you pay for yourself?" And I said, "How do you think we're going to do this?" Because of the kind of age I was, like mid to late 20s, I was like, I'm supposed to be buying a house and doing the things that you're meant to do. And he was like, "Forget about that. Do you want to go to furniture school?" I was like, "More than anything." So he said, "All right, phone him up, find out how much money you can save and how much time that'll buy you." So I did. I got in touch and we worked it out. And if I saved up for a year, I could go for 15 weeks.
Oh, bless.
So after some COVID delays, as I'm sure we all had those, in March 2021, I went to Williams and Cleal in Somerset. And you do a couple of, there's 3 set projects when you first get there, and then you start doing your own projects that are creatively yours with the help of the team there. And that was where I sort of found my style of work after chatting with Jane Cleal, who is one of the owners. She's great and really interesting, you know, person, and very, very talented. But she made me think about things in a different way, and she sort of said, "What inspired you?" And I was, rather than saying other furniture makers, I started talking about artworks that I loved. The one that came up was the Spiders by Louise Bourgeois. They used to have one with Tate, that huge metal spider. I just love them. I think they're really freaky, but I really love them. So I decided I'm going to make a spider table, and then that was it. After that, we started. I was off carving.
So you started your business. Did you start your business after you finished training, or during the time that you was training?
Pretty much straight after, but I did my 15 weeks, and I'd obviously developed all these new skills, but I still felt really new to it. And as you both said about the sort of business side of things, I was kind of like, oh man, there's a lot going on here. So I was actually working, I was really lucky to be able to work for another workshop called Byron and Gomez, also based in Somerset, and they also went to the same school as me, and Marie and Charlie, and I worked with them for like just over a year. They make bespoke freestanding commission pieces, and it was great. I learned a lot. But towards the end of that time, I thought, go on, I can take it one more time, I can take the rejection. So I'm going to apply.
preempting it, take the rejection. And then you applied one more time and you were successful.
This time I got an email saying I got through the first round, and I thought, oh my God, I can't believe this. And then I get an email saying, come and have an interview. And I will not lie, I've never been more nervous for anything in my life as that interview. But it's because I wanted it so much. So when you're that close, you know, you're like, oh my God, please let this happen. And then I was so lucky this time. I had my interview, and I had a lot clearer picture that time of actually where I wanted to go. And I think that's the difference. I had a visual language of my own with my work. And then I knew where I wanted to be because I'd been able to go to school, and I've got to give them credit there. Having access to that self-funded really helped me figure out what I was trying to do. So it helped me with application.
So then let's say you've got the money. We fast forward a bit. You've got the support from QEST. What do you do with it, and how has it helped you? Because as I said, I've seen your work, and you might call it creepy. I don't call it creepy. I think it's organic. It's beautiful. At the end of the day, some people see things in a completely different way, but what you've done with the furniture, and I'm going to come back to your furniture because I wanted to ask you a question when I looked at something. But yeah, what happened next when you got the money? And just for your record, a lot of people are saying they're so proud of you. Well done. Clapping hands, the whole shebang. Good on you. Good on you. All right.
Thanks, please. So what I wanted to do was go back to Williams and Cleal to sort of finish the course, because their full course is 40 weeks. So I wanted to go back, and I knew I wanted to make a chair, which is the chair I'm actually sat in right now. And it was complicated, and I needed support. I'm sure I could have done this, you know, on my own, probably over a period of maybe 3 to 5 years. But I didn't want it to take that long. I knew I needed support, and I needed access to great facilities, which I didn't have. So I went back to Williams and Cleal in August last year. In fact, it was a year ago yesterday. I started my second round of training. Went back, and I basically developed my body of work because I'd left.
Hold on, let's slow down a minute. You're trying to tell me you started designing this stuff and making it last year? This body of work that you've got,
except for the console table, yes.
Don't forget the console table for a minute. Have you seen the body of work that you've produced in a year? Is that what you're? No, hold on. Deborah, I have a word with her because I'm trying to get it straight. Is that what you've done? Body of work. Wow. Okay.
She is.
Okay, that's all right. I feel a little bit embarrassed. I think you should be on the top of there talking to me, because basically I haven't done that amount of work, man. Jesus, you've put the work in.
But there's been a village behind me, and I think it's something that's really important when you're in the craft space. I had support from a lot of people, not just the money, but the community. I've got the people at Williams and Cleal who have gone above and beyond. I want my family and friends who've done nothing but push me and support me and help me to get it. And then I've got this whole community of scholars and everyone who works at QEST, and the people who actually are involved in my I've got a named scholarship, so there's a group of people who donated to that. They're there as well, so there's all these people, so it's not just me on my own. If it wasn't for all of that, would all of this have happened? No.
Deborah, I know why. Well, I don't know why you turned her down twice, but I can tell why she was accepted on the third one, because this is a true scholar. This is someone, we should be just championing this young lady. It's unbelievable. But there is a number of people behind you, but still at the end of the day, you have to produce a body of work that would warrant, as into listen, this person needed that money because look what they produce. And I could see the end result of what you do. And I really, really like it. And we are going to speak about me getting a piece of furniture, but we'll do that off camera, no problem. But it's a case where you have to still be able to deliver. And I think one of the things I really admire QEST about, and a number of other organizations, but it's mainly QEST, because I've seen that you champion people who, I'm not saying you didn't believe in yourself, but they know you can go to the next level and you can inspire another generation of people. That's just like, for me, well, I wish I had my hat on. Where's my hat? Hold on, there we go. I have to do this to you. So anybody who I do this to, that means you've got a level of respect. I have to do that to you. Thank you. No, thank you. But you're inspiring. It's unbelievable. Deborah, I'm lost for words. What are you going to say? I knew you was going to pull someone out the bag, but I didn't think you was going to come to this level and just embarrass me in this way by showing me this young girl who's just insanely good. Yeah. And I know she's got a village behind her, but the reality is you have to make the stuff. What you got to say, Deb? What's going on? Why'd you do that to me? Hey?
Oh, I'm sorry. Look, I think for me, you know, I know we've got to end, but you know, Sophia,
we've got 10 minutes. Don't worry.
Sophia came and found me at Connect. She came up to me. It's always my worst night. People come up to me and go, "Hi,
I didn't get the funding,
Debbie," and I didn't get my scholarship. I'm like, "Oh no, it's not personally." And Sophia said to me, "This is my 4th time applying." I mean, and you know, I said, "Well, all I can say is, you know, good luck." And you know, and I hadn't seen Sophia. I don't really get involved in the process. So when Sophia came to her interview, she was really nervous. It's one of the best interviews I've ever seen. She stood up. She absolutely owned it. She nailed it. And I just had to think a really, really tough panel. And she absolutely nailed it. And, you know, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Or as I say, it's an emotional because these people want it so much. It means so much to them. And so I just love, for me, Sophia demonstrates that never give up, you know, just keep going. If you believe that's what you want to do, then just, you know, go for it. And the work that Sophia's produced, and she's out there, you know, Sophia is getting herself out there. She did, you know, there during London Craft Week.
Hold on, Deborah. Is this the people that taught you then? What was the school you went to? I just saw a name come up. Oh, that is them. Well, I'm going to come to them in a minute. There's a lady that wanted to know where can you see her work. To tell the truth, you should be going on Sophia's website and have a look at this stuff. That's where you should be going. I'm not going to get her to show the chair she's sitting on and the thing behind it. You've got to do a little bit of work. She's come on in. She's done a bit of work. But William and Williams and Cleo. Williams and Cleo. And there's a lady here who's saying hi, Sophia. She knows you. Is that correct? Who's this one?
Yeah, I know. Karina's my best friend's sister. So
oh, bless. Glass blow. So this is the type of people that's been around you supporting. So your best friend's sister is who this is. I'll tell you what, the school, I've got to find out about them. I've got to go down there, got to go and have a butcher's because I love to know about stuff. And then I can always talk about it. But personally, what do you need in the future then? What do you find difficult? I know you've got Sophia I'm talking to. You've got a village around you. Is there anything that you say, okay, I think this is what's needed in the craft world? Because it seems like you've got it sewn up. They got a supportive partner, family, you and your mum chipped in to get this first taster of a course done. Then I'm going to rub it in Deborah, Debbie, sorry. They turn you down 2 times. 2 times.
3 times.
Three times. And then look at her stuff. So is there anything that's needed that you would think?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's basically what you two both said earlier. You don't know what you don't know. I showed, like, you know, interest in this young, but I come from the Midlands. This isn't like a super high income fancy place. It's pretty regular out here. And I think that it would be great if at school they could not so much teach you to make, but let you know that, like, there are other places you can go that are not university. Because if I'd have known about Williams and Cleo when I was 16, or 18, I probably would have just worked and saved up to go to school way sooner than I did. But I didn't even think to like Google furniture school because I didn't. And I'm really lucky. I knew a little bit about the craft world because I was around the people who made things. But like for someone who's maybe living in a council flat in Broyley Hill, they might never be exposed to this ever. So how would you know they want to do it or that they even could do it? If you don't tell them, they're never going to know. No,
you're too right. And I think that's one of the reasons I set up Craftworks and one of the reasons why I like to know a lot of information. Luckily for me, I'm on the repair shops, so some people see me as a celebrity. But I would like to know enough about the craft world and people that are offering stuff so I can then go into schools, go into different institutions and say, this is what you can do. You can have a different path. So I'm glad you've brought that up because Deborah felt bad for turning you down a couple of times. I now feel a little bit better I'll tell you the honest truth, I feel a bit bad because what you've just put onto me is that I've got to go out there and speak to all these schools and then get it out there, get the message out there. I don't know how we can make you feel bad before we end this conversation because you've made Deborah feel bad. Debbie feel bad and I feel bad now. I've got more work to do. Jesus. So, all right, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. You set up your business, you're making all this furniture. This is a question I want to ask. There's some pieces I saw. Are they more, are they less functional? Could you use them as what they are? You call some things a table. And to me, it looks too beautiful to put my cup of tea on there because I'm quite messy sometimes with a cup of tea. I get the ring marks and all that. So are they functional or are they just like display pieces, really? Or
they are functional. But I'm assuming that whoever ends up, keeping one of these, I'm presuming that they've not bought it because they really needed a table. It's going to be about. I expect it will be more of a sculptural piece, but you absolutely, they're not going to fall over. You can sit on this chair; it's fine. Like they work.
That's what you're doing, yeah. You're sitting on the chair, yeah.
I'm assuming that probably they're going to get bought as more of a display thing than. Okay. But I mean, I'm easy. Whatever, whoever buys them, do it with it.
All right, no problem. And then your brand and all that kind of stuff. Are you in control of all the website and all of that and the images? Are you across everything, or do you hand it over to a design team to give you this kind of brand?
So the website currently is me, but I've been really lucky through the school. When I was a student, I was next to a photographer. My bench was next to a guy studying furniture who was a photographer. Who now photography there, but he shot all my work, and he's incredible. I mean, his photos are amazing. And I'll give it to him. He knocked it out of the park with these. So I'm really lucky that I've been able to have a professional photographer, and it's definitely something that I intend to continue to invest in because you need those good photos for promo and stuff that you need.
100%. You need to take good pictures. I see some people making stuff and they take pictures, and the pictures really let the work down sometimes in the sense of that they haven't set the scene correctly and what have you. But I think stemming from what Debbie said earlier, it's one of those things where there are a number of organizations that can show you about the branding, taking pictures and how you put all of this kind of imagery together that then doesn't kind of belittle the work that you're doing. Another question for you, Sofia, is what's next then? What are you going to do next? What's happening?
Craftworks. Yeah, Craftworks.
Yeah, Craftworks. But what else are you doing? What else are you creating? You must be good. Have you learned everything you want to learn now, and that's it, done and dusted?
No. I think woodworks forever. There's always something you can learn. It never ends. But I'm making some more sculptural kind of art pieces right now. And then I'm exhibiting with QEST in October at the Great Northern Contemporary Craft Fair, which should be really fun. Going to be a bit of carpentry there.
Okay. Are you doing some live carpentry there as well? Good on you.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
And yeah, just continuing to really try and get my work out there. I'd love to work with a gallery, find a gallery to represent me. So I'm just continue build the body of work, do these exhibitions, be involved in these great initiatives through QEST and with you guys, and then just keep pushing, keep trying to push my work out there and get more people to see it.
Listen, I'm truly honoured. You got the cap taken off because of your work and because of your kind of what's the word I'm looking for? your grit and determination to do what you felt was right. And I think one of the things, as Debbie said earlier on, with the National Saturday School, we're trying to get people to actually go in there, young people, because then you feel it in your gut and then you're driven. And as you said, at 16, if I knew there was a path, I would have gone to that path, no problem. But I didn't know that at school. So college, university was the avenue. But I think speaking to people like yourself and Debbie, I salute you for, wow, she's the one, isn't it? She's the one, eh? She's done all right. And even a mate of hers said that she was going to be nervous. She's a natural. Of course she's a natural. Look what she's carving. I can't wait to see it in real life, but I think I might see it before Craftworks next year. I'm sure I'm going to see it before then. But listen, to the two of you, it's 8:30. I want to bid you good night. But is there anything else you want to say before I say bye to everybody?
No, just thank you so much for allowing us to just talk about what we love doing.
Yeah, what we love.
Really, really be involved with Craftworks, and to all of our colleagues that we know in all those organisations that we talked to, let's just keep doing our stuff, do it together, because we're more powerful if we do it together.
Yeah, definitely. Sofia?
I guess all the same things that Debbie said, and also just don't ever take no for an answer.
Yeah,
never take
go.
You'll get it.
You'll get over it. You'll be able to do it. Oh, bless you. No, that's absolutely brilliant. And I didn't say to the people in the audience, which I should have said, I forgot my manners. I got carried away with Sofia. That's what it was. Is there any questions from people? We're going to wait for probably about 2 minutes. If you have any questions for the two very talented people on this screen, and I'm not including myself here. So if you have any questions, looking forward to Crossword. Thank you.
So can I just say that I'm watching all the people join, so many QEST scholars there.
See, there you go. They follow you, Debbie. They follow you. Come on.
It's so lovely because I see Bezak there, blacksmith. He makes the most wonderful knives, handcrafted knives, metalwork in Suffolk. Gorgeous.
A thing I was going to say to everybody, if you haven't done so already, please follow Craftworks. That's the page that you're on now. And then basically I will get to be able to follow all of you guys in some way, shape or form, because there's so many crafts people in the world. Well, in England, they say, not the world. I can't do the world. It's too big. But let's say in England, it's basically, I'd like to know about all of them. So please just message us, follow us, so then we can actually get round to meeting all of you. Because I have to go into all these schools. Sofia has said to me that that's what's lacking. And I'm on a mission now to actually get this all done. She set the task. She's going to be busy in the workshop, doing what she's doing. And I'm going to be walking around with my little rucksack, going to these schools. Yeah. So help me out with it, please. Okay. Just came back from Japan. Thanks again for the support. Oh, brilliant. Went to Japan. Oh, I would love to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Hi, Debbie. Well, it looks like, you're looking forward to the visit. So am I looking forward to the visit. Yeah. I will be there. I will be. And we will talk after this. But there's no questions. So you've done a really comprehensive conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right? No problem.